let's talk about the price of perfection.
No.
Why?
Because I've got to introduce us first. Heyo, we're back. Hey everyone, we're back for episode 3 of the 2-Point Perspective, where we bring you 2 perspectives of life in the saddle across generations. I'm Reynolds, and this is my co-host Lizzo. And today we're going to talk about the price of perfection. So I think it's something that riders know all too well. The price of perfection, or more accurately, how much money and effort it takes to look perfect and feel perfect in this day and age.
Well, that's for sure, because back in my day, we didn't worry about much. Perfection meant that you didn't fall off.
Well, optional, yes, but apparently now it's mandatory to also look perfect with a tack that costs more than my first car and a horse that costs more than someone's mortgage and the outfits to boot.
Yeah, Charles Ancona coats,
Cha-ching.
maybe a little money.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd say. And it's not even just about how you look. It's how you ride, what you ride. Your horse has to be pretty perfect too.
I think getting into the rising costs of not just horses, but also the cost of showing. And we all know that showing's expensive, but just to have the horse is really expensive too.
But it is an interesting dilemma. I'm at my age. I am a business person too, with a business mind, and I do understand, and I want to be fair in my understanding of how much it costs and who can afford it and who can't. And in talking to several trainers, I've heard over and over again that the only way they make any money is through horse showing.
Yeah.
So never mind that the USEF is raising their fees, and horse show in general, A shows, for example, the stalls are more expensive.
Yeah.
And you got to travel there, you have to spend the night there, you have to eat there, everything is more expensive.
Right.
But it goes back to if what a trainer has to offer, and that's the trainer that you want to ride with, and the way they're very upfront about saying the way that they make money
And their business
is
model,
their
yeah.
business model is horse showing,
Yeah.
then what do you do? For somebody like you who, I mean, you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to make some very different decisions on how I'm gonna do riding, and I'll be the first person to admit, and I freely talk about this, that without the support of my mom through my entire riding career, like this, the things that I have been fortunate and lucky enough to do would not have been possible. And now I'm a mom of my own, and my priorities, like I've mentioned, are shifted and they're different, but riding is still extremely important to me. It's just the way that I'm doing my riding now, and the amount that I'm showing is very different than it looked like even 2 years ago. But my horse is at home. We do have a small farm, which, in my circumstance, I feel very fortunate to have, and not everybody has the luxury to be able to do that. Sometimes you're forced with the decision of, okay, can I afford to keep the horse, or do I have to sell the horse? And in my position, I'm lucky enough that I have a ring at home and a barn at home and 10 minutes for me, so I can still ride my horse and have lessons, and haven't gone yet. My baby's not even a year old, but get to a horse show again.
Yeah, when I was riding as a teenager, when I went to college, I really didn't want to go to college. I wanted to,
Sure.
I'd been doing some catch riding, and we didn't have working student type situations back then. And I really wanted, to be an amateur, to be thought of for the Olympic team. You had to be an amateur, and so somebody had to sponsor you. And I was getting catch rides, and I thought, oh gosh, I can do. I couldn't have. Never mind. That's here or there.
Hey,
but
it's good to have dreams.
It was my dream. Yeah. So I thought
Everybody wants to be busy.
And so my mother was like, oh, no, you know who grew up around me is Laura Kraut.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, right by you.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I thought I could be her, but no. So when I went to college, my first year at school, I did get to take my horse, and then after a while, my mother had said to me, "You go to college, you get your degree, and then I'll help you do whatever you want to do with your horse."
Yeah.
Big fat lie.
I think it worked out.
No, I did. I mean, she couldn't help it. At the time, she was financially not capable of helping me. And in fact, my sophomore year in college, I had to sell the horse.
Yeah.
So that kind of ended all of it until I got back to it. So now, quite opposite from your perspective,
right.
My perspective is my clock is ticking and not the baby clock, the other end clock. And
she threw all sense out the window.
So I feel like I have to do what I got to do because my time, let's be realistic, is somewhat limited. So for me, I've made this money. I've
worked
my butt off, and will continue to do so till I can't, because I want to go to horse shows, and I realize that it costs a lot of money, but it's something that I'm passionate about. And my mother kind of constantly says to me, if I had 4 legs and a tail, you'd come and visit me more often. And I might. But I had friends here from Denver, Colorado last week, and they were upset that I had to leave because I was asked to go. I somehow wormed my way into Washington. And it was, at first, for a minute, I thought maybe I shouldn't go. But
then you met me at the winery.
That's right. And
your perspective changed.
Because she said, "Are you absolutely out of your mind?"
Yeah.
It's
you have the opportunity to go to Washington. I don't care if you're 70 or 80. You get your butt on and let's ride.
Let's ride. Well, I did. And yes, it was.
And you did.
And it was expensive.
Yes. Yes, it was.
It was very expensive for one class.
Get the horse there last minute. I mean, like you're talking about, you change your weekend plans and revolving around doing the damn thing.
And my friends were not very happy with me, but they're not riders, and not that friend. Yes. You, on the other hand, were like, "Are you crazy?" But yes, I am very much aware of the cost, and some probably would say I am stupid because I might need this money to take care of me someday, but then you will. So.
Yeah. I will. And as my mom likes to tell me, she was like, there's going to be nothing left by the time this is all said and done. And I'm like, but we had a really good time.
Exactly.
I kind of take the perspective of, let's pay for those experiences and not gifts, but also I really like gifts, and my mom will nail me on that one too. She was like, yeah, you like an experience, but you also like to open a gift. I'm like,
that's right. In my case, I can't take it with me. It seems like
you'll be paying me as your caretaker.
That's right. But it seems like I should be doing something that I might not ever, tomorrow something could be so incredibly different.
Yeah.
Whereas at least you have plenty of time to change the way that your path goes.
And I think the way that I look at this is a little bit like I've gone and I've done and I've accomplished a lot of the things I dreamed of doing when I was a kid. And I'm so lucky and fortunate to be able to say that, because I realize there are many people who can't or haven't been able to achieve those things. But also, I decided I was ready to be a mom, and now I am. And I'm still lucky enough to be able to have my horse and to ride him. And the shows are always going to be there. Horse showing isn't going anywhere. Might look different by the time I return to it, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, but it's okay. It's just like you taking the break that you took. You came back and the horses are still there and the shows are still going on. And while it's very different, as we've been discussing, the sport's going to be there. So, but I will say that, financially, I think we're looking at the cost of boarding going up, and you're looking at the cost, and from the other side, as a person who owns a farm, the cost of hay is going up, the cost of grain is going up. And so you're seeing these price increases, not just in board, but like what it's costing to even just own a horse I mean, we're seeing it. I keep my horses at home. We do the labor. We don't pay somebody to come in and do that. But that doesn't mean it's still not expensive to house a horse and keep them at home. I mean, they still have to be fed and they still have to eat. And so certainly, board costs, and then you're talking about having overhead, you're seeing the expenses increase there. And I do think that when people get into riding, first, maybe you're just paying for some lessons. Maybe you even go on to a lease. But regardless, if you go for a lease or a purchase, you've got to board a horse somewhere. So you kind of have this idea, okay, we know it's going to cost something month to month to keep this horse that we've taken on. At the same time, then let's get into the showing of it all. And then you're getting into some really high totals. And the cost of showing, one, the stalls to keep them there is quite expensive, and that's gone up just to be there. Then you're housing yourself, you're feeding yourself,
You're braiding,
and everything that goes along with it. And so I think getting to the price of perfection on that, you're seeing this opportunity feel like it's slipping through your hands. Like, okay, I know it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to show this week, all the things we just went through. Okay, my division's coming up. If I screw this up, have I just thrown $400 out of the window? Like, we do this because we love it. We do this because we have fun with our friends. And I mean, I'm really competitive, but I don't think anybody goes to a horse show and goes, let me see if I can be the loser today. I think everybody goes in trying to do the best that they can do. But at the same time, even when you feel like you've done the best that you can do, maybe on that given day or how your horse is or how you're feeling, and you don't get a ribbon or you get a low ribbon or something like that, it feels like, I failed? Have I tossed it away? Obviously that's not the intent. You want to do great, but it's like an extra added sword to the gut.
Well, it sort of becomes business decisions versus fun.
Right.
And so, yeah, you're right. Like, can I, in my mind, separate the fact that I just spent a lot of money and still just enjoy being there with my friends and the fact that I did it? Or is it, how do you manage your competitive side with your business side, with your finances?
For me, like, the way that we've been able to afford the horses we've had, and I think I've spoken to this before, which was we had to buy them young. They couldn't be made and ready to go. And for me, I've actually really enjoyed the process of doing all of that now that I've done it a couple of times. And I'm not entirely sure I would change that at this point. But that's how we've cut the cost on some of that, like the horse with a mortgage attached to it. But at the same time, I like to think that even though I'm really competitive, because I've had the green ones, I've felt pretty good about my horsemanship in the sense that maybe I didn't go in and have the winning round, but okay, X, Y, and Z was improved. And I'm really proud of how my horse went today. Or I'm proud of how I handled this situation today, even though it maybe wasn't my best day of showing. On the flip, and I think that's how it should be. I feel like that's how a good mindset is. Okay, I can't always be the winner. It's okay to be disappointed. But the flip side of that is, okay, so I have just paid all this money for what felt like a practice round. Okay, go practice at the local show. Like, when you're ready to turn it on, but you're on a living, breathing creature. I mean, you don't know if the tree over there in the ring is going to fall over or somebody's going to jump out with a dog. I mean, you can practice until you're blue in the face. You can't.
Well, and not only that, when we talk about the cost of all this, when you go to the show, what do you get?
Right.
A ribbon?
Yeah.
So I think what's important is choosing what perspective you want to take in terms of what do those costs mean. So if you're hell-bent to go to an A show, does that mean you say, I save all my money to go for 2 weeks in Ocala?
Right.
And maybe one other horse show, and I don't have to go every single month.
Right.
But when you're, for example, younger adults or kids, they have the competition of other social media
Yeah.
and other friends' pressures, like, why aren't you going?
Well, why aren't you going? And, there's no chance that I could qualify for X, Y, and Z because there's no way I'm going to get to 8 shows or 10 shows or more. And, well, so-and-so and so-and-so of such and such a barn is, well, they're going and they just got a new horse. And look at how nice that horse is. And I feel a little bit of that type of, like, I don't necessarily feel that now at my age with the riding, but I do feel it with motherhood. Because it's like, oh, well, your baby is 9 months old and it's doing what? Are you doing that? It's like, it's a developing human. So
Right.
it's we're all going to get there. It's going to be fine. But I've talked to, my doctors about that. I'm like, is everything good? There's a lot of influx and incoming into my phone right now.
Oh, that's so funny.
And so for that, I do feel a lot for the juniors, because I think you're not totally sure who you are yet as a person and you're figuring this out.
But then you look at something like junior finals or these McClay finals, and there's hundreds of people that are entering these classes from all around the country.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how are they managing that? Obviously, there are families that are able to fund this.
Sure.
And there always will be, but it's just fascinating.
Well, I think it's hard when you're maybe the kid that's working twice as hard on maybe the horse that's not nearly as expensive, and you have the talent, or at least you have the dedication, and you can qualify for one of these events if you had a few couple extra $1,000 laying around. And that's got to be tough, I think, for some kids that have the drive and the desire and maybe not the funding.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where I lead into a question of, like, we have a little visitor.
I know, we have a visitor.
Several.
Uh-oh. Y'all need to go.
Everything's gone rogue.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Which I beg the question is, like, what is the fix for that? What do we do to make, not just, because it's like, I think both areas are interesting. Like, how do you make riding accessible to anyone? Like, even if they just wanted to lesson and learn how to ride. And then how do you make it affordable for the people who are like, I'm ready to take it top notch, and I want to go and I want to do these things, but really can only afford to do it 3 or 4 times a year. Now, and I don't say that like, there's somebody who out there that wishes they could get to just one in their life. And I wish a lot of things. How do we figure that out? How do we make the sport better as a whole to allow, like, to not just cut off opportunities to kids and, cut them off at the knees simply because you just can't pay? That's hard.
It is hard. And if you think about it from the riding instructor business perspective,
Yeah.
why would they want to have like a lesson horse that they're paying money to maintain and upkeep, and have someone who just comes once a month just because, I think I want to ride today?
Right.
I don't have an answer, and I don't know what the solution is. It's just interesting because I'm sure that must have happened when I was growing up, just the same way that it happens now. It just looks different,
Right.
because everything is much more out there and in front of you.
Exactly.
But I know, like, growing up, there were, and I've seen it around here too, there's sort of like beginner level people that have the lesson horses, teach the kids, they're the great up-down teachers. And then when the kid's ready to move up or go show, there's someplace else they can go. But I also wonder, like, when these poor parents who have never experienced any of this, they think...
Get slapped with a price list?
Yeah, all of a sudden they go, what? You want me
To pay what?
To pay what?
Yeah.
And my child is only going to half lease a horse, and it's going to cost that. You kind of have a really good situation just because you're lucky enough to have him at your house.
Well,
I'm
lucky enough to have a farm where I can do that. That's not the case for many, many people.
No,
it's like you buy the horse has to go live somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was first married and lived in New York, I did have my hairdresser had a horse that she'd owned for a long time, and she said she just couldn't get out there and ride all the time, so I could go. And there was another place I'd go and ride on the weekends, and then pretty quickly I realized that wasn't
enough.
No, it wasn't enough. And then the second I got pregnant, the hairdresser lady was like, nope, sorry, you can't ride my horse anymore. So
said, no,
she didn't want me to get hurt on her nickel. So no, that was that. But when my children were older, we lived in Connecticut. And I will tell you that 28 years ago, I was taking, or maybe 26 years ago, I was taking lessons at a place in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And it was the kind of place that you go with your saddle, you hand them your saddle, my 100-year-old saddle that I'd ridden with since I was 16, and you'd hand them your saddle and they'd put it on and then take it off and you'd go and ride. And the horse that I rode was an ex-Grand Prix horse, and they said, he's 20 years old, he used to do the Grand Prix, but he's got a lot of lessons today, so today I think we're gonna walk. And then when you got off,
hand them the money.
That will
Same cost.
Wait, hold on. That will be $90, please.
No, ma'am.
I don't even pay $90 now, but that was what it was 26 years ago, in Connecticut.
I think it's easy, and I think we all fall into this category, horses or no horses, of the comparison. Who's doing what? How are they doing it? Oh, I wish I had such and such. And that's a hard trap to get out of in a world of social media where everyone's life is in front of you all the time and our access to it is constant. But at the same time, I think you can also say this across the board and not just in horses. It's important to have a conversation internally with yourself, which is, you do what you can with what you have, and how do I make the best version of this scenario?
Well, it's
and
the
how
same.
do I make it work? Like, let's get creative about it.
Yeah, it's the same as when you get on your horse and they always say you've got to ride the horse you have.
Yeah, I had this whole plan in my head, and you're feral today. Never mind. That would be an option where can we walk, please?
But then just go beyond just even the boarding, the showing, and the training costs. What it costs to outfit yourself. Now pants are $400 and coats are $2,000 or whatever, and boots are $2,000, and
I mean, I think like comparatively, like throughout time, I mean, you see it with anything, clothes and eggs at the store. Like the cost of everything has just gone up insane. But the price to outfit a rider for a horse show, even if we're not talking about like bridles and martingales, because like your horse has their own, let's just say, and so, but you have a saddle. Okay, you're at any given moment, you're wearing what? At least $5,000 worth of stuff, which is insane.
It's totally insane.
That is insane. Now, granted, at least for me,
you look perfect.
I mean, I look so good. The last riding coat I got, which was a couple of years ago when we were shopping around at Upperville, right? And I love that coat. But I hadn't gotten a new show coat and it had been at least 8 years. And that's a good thing. That coat still is beautiful. I love that coat. I get the things that I have, and I'm like, keep them in pristine condition. And okay, well, you're gonna have to go to the repair shop. We're not just buying a new one.
Well, it's hard because I was always taught, it's kind of like cost per wear.
Yeah.
So I never shopped at like the Walmart. Walmart didn't exist, but like the cheapo. I was always kind of taught, if you've got to buy something, just have one thing and wear it a lot, but make sure that it's very good quality.
Oh, sure.
And so I kind of find myself a little getting drawn into that.
I can justify that. Well, and I would argue that us semi-insane horse people can justify a lot of the money that we spend.
Yeah, what do they call that? The girl budget, or the horse girl budget versus the real budget.
Go get help budget. Yeah,
exactly.
Call somebody who looks at finances budget. Yeah, there's somebody that needs help budget.
That's right.
Well, when we were showing my horse now, and I wasn't showing him. We were taking him around and he was campaigning in the greens. my stepdad said to my mom, hey, have you guys like put together a spreadsheet for all of your expenses and what this is costing? And we were like, no, what? We don't need it on paper that we are this certifiable.
That's exactly.
Like it doesn't, we don't need it on a document. He was like, okay. We're like, yeah. All right. So next topic, what's for dinner? Like, let's move on. Let's not go back to that.
Exactly.
Like, we don't want to talk about it, but we are talking about it now. It's really easy to feel like you're so outpaced by the next person. I think that's, being in touch with reality about like what are realistic goals and what aren't, but then also being like really transparent about what it's going to cost should you have a goal to go to indoors or you have a goal to go to Maclay, or I don't know, maybe your goal is to just do maybe the goal is just to do one show or it's 4 shows, and being really transparent about what that looks
with
like.
Your trainer.
With your trainer.
And sit down and map it out at the very beginning.
Yeah, because I think that, there should never be, in my opinion, a shock about what your bill is going to look like at the end of the day. I think that's how people plan. I think that's how they figure out, can I really afford to do this? Or if I don't know, DoorDashed for a month, could I take myself to a horse show like as extra income or something like that? Because you can get scrappy in figuring out how to pay for anything in the world.
Right.
But horses are expensive and they're living, breathing creatures. And so they have to be cared for first and foremost. And then all this extra stuff.
And we're asking them to do these crazy jobs with 4 little sticks and jumping over things. So they have to be extra taken care of if you want that thing to last. Correct. Just like you said about
your clothes.
Your clothes.
I mean, yeah. My horse goes around and jumps 5 jumps, and I'm like,
okay,
all 4 legs wrapped. Let's poultice him tonight. Let's make sure he feels really good. And I'm like, you're insane. But I'm like, no. These are very precious little legs. We love them.
We have to keep them all together and safe. Can we answer the question about accessibility? Can we answer the question about people being able to enter their way into this sport? And I don't think we can, other than hoping to find ways to help and support those farms that are doing the beginner lessons, the up-down lessons. But the one thing I felt, because when we moved here, as I said, we didn't know where we were and wound up at a place like that. And the trainer was incredible. She was well known as one of the best starting up-down teachers in this area. But she was so hurt when we would leave.
Like when you graduated.
When you graduated, and maybe that's what it needs to be, is academies.
You see fewer and fewer of them because I think the prevalence of them used to be much greater.
Right.
But also, like we've spoken about, I think the prevalence of where the trainers who just want to teach, like not to say that they can't get on and ride them if the horse needs it or you need extra help or something like that,
is going.
Yeah, I think that doesn't exist a ton anymore. And part of that, on the flip side, is trainers have to be able to make a living for them to have a job.
And I also think that because when kids come up, they learn to ride. So that's what they're doing. They're riding.
Yeah.
So, and as a junior, me included, as a junior, the thing I wanted to do the most was keep riding.
Yeah.
And so how do we encourage? I've talked to a number of professionals. I've been asking this question because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I see the difference. My trainer that I rode with was only 23 maybe when I was riding with her. She was really young. She had just started, and she had a career riding horses, not necessarily, I don't know how much she showed. I guess she did. Her main focus, all she ever wanted to do was teach.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we are creating opportunities for people like that anymore. I've met now a couple of professionals who've said all they ever wanted to do was teach. And we don't encourage that right now. McClay finals or leading junior rider, or we focus a lot on the Olympics. It's all about riding. It's not about teaching. I would say that a few years ago, before he fell from grace, everyone will know who I'm talking about, we did have someone who focused, his mission was teaching.
Right.
And yes, he rode too, but his mission was teaching. Whether you liked him or didn't like him, he taught.
Right.
And I can't think of anybody who has come along like that. We have a lot of people I see on the internet that offer these classes or coaching, or you can send them your video and they'll critique it.
Yeah.
But I don't see where we're encouraging a growth of teachers.
Right.
And I think that goes back to the fact that expenses have gone up, and those that are professionals are saying that they cannot break even on boarding, and the only way that they can make money is by going to horse shows.
Yeah.
So if they're going to horse shows and are just teaching, you don't see that very often either.
No.
They're going to horse shows and they're riding the professional days, and then they're teaching on the weekend days.
Yeah.
But either way, they still have horses that basically you're paying for them to be at the horse show, so that relieves some pressure on the staff at home.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a dilemma, and I'm not sure in our lifetime we'll solve it. I wish there was a way to be more supportive of teachers, like true teachers. Right. And I know we have awards for best teachers, USEF does, but I don't think there's enough emphasis or recognition on those that are teaching. There's a lot on those that are riding, but not on teaching.
Yeah. My mom, I mean, she would have to speak to this, not that I could, but my mom grew up riding where their trainer, it sounds a lot like how you grew up, but she may have ridden. I think she rode some. Obviously, she rode when she was younger, but when she finally got into that's what she did.
I just want to say this, though, as I'm stating that we don't have enough emphasis on just teachers. Oddly, there are two big teachers that are still showing up often, meaning Heritage and Beacon Hill. They are focused on teaching. However, what's interesting to me is most of their teaching is juniors, and it's on the road to the finals.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's different than someone who's just teaching adults, teaching juniors, teaching younger kids, ponies, juniors, adult horses. Yeah. I mean, I still, want someone who will teach me. Yeah. And I think that's where there is an obvious hole.
Well, definitely. I think that this change in horsemanship and all of it through this growth of the sport, we are missing the opportunity to truly educate. And I think that piece of our sport is extremely important, no matter which direction it goes. Well, and I hope that it doesn't just kind of fall off as not an important piece.
I guess the question is can you be an effective good teacher if you haven't ridden at this level?
Oh,
I definitely think so.
Because I think that there are some people who can see more than they can effectively do, and that's not like a jab. It's just the truth. Their eye for it, their ability. Because this is the thing. A lot of people can sit there and tell you what to do. To be a very effective teacher takes a special person and a lot of skill to be able to tell someone what you want them to do and how you want them to. It's like coaches in any sport.
But then that goes back to how do you tell somebody what to do if you've never done it yourself? So
true.
You have to have some level of knowledge of
absolutely.
How to be able to teach. But I also don't disagree with you that I think people learn as much by watching and listening as they do by actually riding.
Yeah.
But it just seems a shame that the people that we ride with mostly today they don't really have a choice. Even if they wanted to do just the teaching, they really can't.
No, in order for them to be able to run their business.
Right.
Right.
They have
and
to
so
ride.
it's a total catch-22 for them. Totally. I get it.
Right.
Get a friend.
All the
your
doors were open yesterday because they painted the doors, so we have all kinds of visitors.
Fancy.
All kinds of visitors. All right, well, I guess we can probably wrap this up for this week, and then we kind of have to give a little heads up for next week.
Yeah, so if you've ever spent way too much money to make yourself or your horse look perfect, tell us about it. You know, what are some of the craziest things you've spent money on? Or
those, you know, and I have to get you. I've bought it a long time ago. This wasn't expensive, but those hair nets with the rubber band thing in them.
Oh, I have some.
I know. I have one too, and you were supposed to teach me how to use it.
I didn't teach you how to use it?
No.
See, this is what happens. Millennial having to teach
The old lady.
the old lady new tricks.
There you go. So send us your stories.
Yeah, I mean, let us know some of the crazy things you've done or creative ways that you've made this expensive sport work for you. I think all of us would love little tips and tricks and any way that we can sort of keep the sport alive and happening in our lives when it's crazy and we have other things we have to spend our money on. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it.
And next week, we're going to dive into social media in the saddle.
Oy.
So that has been a pretty hot topic these days.
Yes,
so
it has.
I think it will be interesting and
Very much so coincides with the price of being perfect.
that's right. And how social media shows you whether you're perfect or not.
Instagram versus reality.
Yep, there you go. And which one is it?
We don't.
It remains to be seen. So this week, let's
ride.